Hello everyone, it's Deb again. So I thought I would show you how to train cucumber plants and melon plants up your trellises, and depending on what kind of trellis you're using, this may be hard or it may be simple, and depending on what type of plants you're working with, it again may be hard or simple because some plants are natural climbers and others need a little bit of coaxing, but since all of them are vining plants, they will actually climb if you train them. And so what you want to do is come out here probably every day, especially during the major bursts of growth. You want to come out here every day or every other day and inspect them and make sure they're doing what you want them to do and not what they want to do. Now, my cucumber plants are a lot taller than the melon plants, and I guess they're just more vigorous in their growth habit. So I actually haven't been able to do much with the melons, but just today I was able to come out here and start training a couple of them. Now, when you're working with melons and cucumbers, you might want to put a glove on, and I'm not a sissy or anything, I assure you, but when you're working with these pokey things, it can really get irritating after a while. Like if you're only touching one or two plants, it's probably okay, but when you're working on 30 plants, after a while it really starts to get irritating. And even when you wash your hands and stuff, it really doesn't help. And so I'm using these livestock panels for my trellises, and they were originally 16 feet long by 3 feet wide, and to make these A-frame type trellises for the cucumbers and the melons, we just cut them at a certain length and wire tied. Let me see if I can. I'm not done up here. I still have to put another wire tie right there, but we just wire tied them at the top. I still have to trim the tails, but we just want to get them in the ground before I put the plants in. And so the problem with this livestock panel versus others is that it has a graduated spacing, and so here on this side there's very little space, and then on this side you have this great big empty space. And this was probably, I guess, $20 for this panel, and because I was buying several panels last year, I couldn't afford the $40 panels because that would have been $40 a piece. But if you spend a little bit more, you can actually find livestock panel where each and every square is the same size, and when you're using it for trellising, that would be ideal. So I mean, if you have the money, I would go ahead and splurge for the trellis that has the evenly spaced holes, just for your own sanity. But it's not a requirement. I mean, you can definitely work around it. So what I do is, because I am doing the square foot gardening method, I crammed as many plants as possible all along the trellis, and just to make it easier to keep them evenly spaced, what I did was, well, I planted them all on the inside of the bed, so you can kind of see that there. We're on the inside of my bed right now, and everything is planted on the inside of the trellis. And so when they go to start being trained up the trellis, what I do is on this bottom section here, I take one of the plants out of this bottom so that it'll grow out, and then I leave the other one in, and then on the next section I bring it out, and then on the next section I'll take it back in, and so on and so forth, so that it's doing the figure 8 up and down. And so every other plant is the opposite. So that one comes out first down this bottom thing, the next one stays in, the next one comes out, the next one stays in, and so on and so forth down the line. And that just keeps them from crowding each other too awfully much. And this is pretty close spacing, but hopefully there won't be any problems, and I'm hoping that if they get to the top and they still want to grow, that they'll actually grow down the other side. That is the plan, at least. And I guess this is the only melon plant I can show you, really. And I'm not quite sure how I'll be able to do all of this one-handed and still be able to show you, but I'm going to try. And so this plant I had staying in, and so on this next section I want it to come out. And so I'm just going to very gently grab him and pull it out. And I mean, that's all it takes. That's literally all it takes. Now the wind may try to blow him around and blow him back through, and so that's why I say you should probably check it once a day to make sure that it's actually doing what you want it to do. And I kind of want him over here to the side, but he doesn't want to go over there yet. But eventually it'll be tall enough that I can train him to stay over here on this side, and I'm just going to tuck him around like that just for right now. Now tomorrow that may be different, but for right now that's what we're going to do with him. Now these guys, I've got the first one in, second one out. They're little shorties. They're not doing much. And this one is going to stay in. And then on the next, when he reaches this top one, I'm going to bring him out through the thing. So this one should be coming out this way already. And for some reason it's not. And so I've got him now coming out, and then when he grows tall enough, I'll have him go back in, and then come out, and then in, and then out. And so it's the same way with the cucumbers. You can see that the cucumbers are leaps and bounds ahead of the melons, and I've actually had to come out here every day and check these guys. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath, and it's like 105 in the shade today. It's really hot. None of the plants are enjoying the heat. And I may complain about my 80-foot trees, but on days like this, I'm glad they're there. So, right here on this one, I've got him. Okay, we'll start on this one. So he's coming out, and then he's already grown way past the second one, so he needs to be going back in right now. And so on the cucumbers, just be very careful. And push him right through there, okay? And so he's going in, and then I want him to come back out. But of course, he's not tall enough to fully do that yet. But we're just going to get him started. And so this one is coming out. And I've already trained him, or it's staying in on the bottom rung and coming out on this rung. I've already trained him to do that. But if you see right here, this tendril from this plant right here has hooked on to this plant. And so even though I want him to go back in, this plant is holding on to him. And sometimes they'll grab the trellis too in places you don't want them to grab. And so if I don't untangle this guy from this guy, then I'm not going to be able to train these cucumbers the way I want, because I'm trying to tuck him back in there, as you can see, and he's got a nice little tendril right there attached, but his brother is holding on for dear life, and I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed. It really does take two hands, because their tendrils are they're really windy, and so I can't do it with two hands, or I'm sorry, with one hand. The heat's getting to me. I swear it's the heat. So off camera and with both hands, I will untangle these two, and I'll stick him through that one right there where I want it to go. And this one is already coming out here at the bottom, so it needs to go back in. but until I untangle him, I can't move him. And look at this one. The tendril is not even grabbing onto a stem. It is grabbing onto its brother's leaf. Can you see that? He's like totally just grabbed right onto the leaf. It doesn't even take a stem or anything. It's pretty wild. Okay, so I will go through and I will do that to all of the plants, and I'll take all the leaves and all the top stems and I'll just run them in and out, in and out, in and out, all the way up as they grow. But like I said, it's hard to do with one hand, so I'm going to have to stop the video so I can do that. But I just wanted to show you how to do that, and please make sure that you're wearing some kind of protective gloves, because they will poke you and you will not be happy. So that's it. I will talk to you guys another time. Bye-bye.